So with no further ado, I will leave the floor to Brock from NASA to start with the first presentation of the day. Brock, please introduce yourself and the floor is yours.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Brock Blevins. I'm a training coordinator for NASA's Applied Remote Sensing Training Program. Are my slides in here? Maybe it's the next slide. Yep, there we are. All right. So I put all this in the chat so you have direct access to the links, but that's our training webpage. You can find all of our trainings available. These are all cost-free trainings. Most of them are online. We usually do about 16 to 18 trainings per year. And we're getting back to in-person workshops, which is really exciting. These are the different themes of applications in which we provide instruction. These are generally designed for those who will hopefully use these operationally. However, about half of our attendees 50% of them are from academia, whether it be faculty or students. Next slide, please. Thank you. Okay, so I'm just going to run through the trainings that we have on our fiscal year work plan. These will run through October this year. Starting with some of our disasters themes, we have one, impact of lightning on fire and electrical outage risk. This actually starts next week, so it's a three-parter on the 26th, 28th, and then the 2nd of April. And it's going to focus on global and regional lightning data products in their application for disaster risk preparedness, things like wildfire, severe weather, and power outages. Then we have another one coming up. This is going to be in June, and this is Earth observations for humanitarian applications. So it'll focus on measuring flood risk in refugee or displaced persons settings, gauging long-term heat stress in these camps, tracking drought effects on agricultural landscapes, and monitoring landslide lists in humanitarian context. Look for that registration to open up soon. If you go to our training webpage, you'll see any one of these trainings. We open up registration about 2 months beforehand in order to cast as wide of a net as we can to get to attend. So we also have a listserv too if you want to get pinged anytime a new training comes out. Then we have another one in a long-running SAR series that we've been doing, SAR and disasters in particular. This one we're going to focus on damage proxy maps related to earthquake damage, flood extent, and vegetation impacts due to natural hazards. It's going to have a large emphasis on L-band data, either NISAR or from Pulsar. We're trying to prepare the community for NISAR data products, as well as a combination of C-band from Sentinel-1 and L-band in order to better characterize these surface change metrics. This one that we have here in the agriculture and water theme, large-scale applications using machine learning for agricultural solutions. This one just finished up last week. We had about 1,300 people join. We partnered with John Deere for this one. It was really cool. Please, if you are interested in any of our past trainings, like this one here, if it's of interest to you, we have all the code, exercises, homework, recordings, transcripts of the Q&A, and presentations available on the training webpage. So any of our previous trainings, anyone can self-pace through. The only thing you're missing out on is the live interaction during the Q&A section, but we always provide good contact information, and our trainers are always open to emails inquiring about their topic. So then we also have another one coming up on drought. This is going to be in July, and it's going to be a three-part. It's built on some previous ARSET trainings, but we're going to provide hands-on data analysis experience. So it's a little bit more advanced than our previous ones, and we're going to focus on the 3 types of drought: meteorological, hydrological, and agricultural. Next slide, please. Okay, and then we're really diving into the hyperspectral, and from the presentations of the last couple of days, it looks like this is a very common topic. So, these observations are becoming more and more available with remote sensing. So this is what we're hoping to prepare the community for access and these data driving multiple water pollutants, and important for like water quality and aquatic ecosystem management is the thinking behind that one. The next three are in our climate theme. So we've been doing this for about 3 years now. We'll usually do about 3 different climate topics. And the ones that you see here, carbon dioxide, we're going to focus on blue carbon ecosystems, and then another one on methane. So the carbon dioxide one is bilingual. When I say bilingual, it's typically going to be Spanish for us. So it's going to be delivered in English and Spanish. The English ones will be in the morning on those days, and then the afternoon will be delivered in Spanish. And it's going to really dive into OCO2, OCO3 measurements, and some demonstrations of case studies on how to analyze time series of CO2 measurements. The blue carbon, salt marshes, seagrasses to mangroves. It's very effective management and conservation applications here, and we'd like to utilize the data from remote sensing and training participants to use this to understand coastal ecosystems for future policy or restoration efforts. And then the methane one is a new topic for us. We're going to be working with NASA's U.S. Greenhouse Gas Center to show participants how to access and visualize data using the Greenhouse Gas Center portal that's being developed. Next slide, please. And I think this is my last one. All right, then we have another one on invasive species. So this is a new topic for our ecological conservation. It's been highly requested from the community, so we try to give the community what they're asking for. And they'll learn approaches for image processing and inclusion of this data into species distribution models, and for mapping future spread of invasive species. And we're going to use Google Earth Engine on this one. And then we have one on ground-based measurements. Oh, I'm sorry. There's still one more here. We have an in-person going on in partnership with Bioscape and the University of Cape Town in South Africa. Bioscape was an airborne mission with NASA and SANSA. And this will provide a hands-on experience in the use of hyperspectral in situ spectroradiometers for land and water targets. So that'll be a 3-part training going on in October. We haven't opened up registration for that yet, but we're hoping to get a lot of people from the region to attend. And then we have one on ground-based networks, how to connect the ground-based networks that NASA provides. There's 4 of them. Each session is going to focus on one and then tie that to satellite measurements. And then we just recently opened up a learning management system, which we're really happy to do. It's Moodle Workplace. And we're going to be providing a couple different courses through that and adding to it every year. There's one available right now, and it's called Developing Sustainable Earth Science Applications. It's a self-paced training. It offers a very flexible learning experience. And it's really for how to take research into applications and all the different nuances and caveats to that. So what it is, you kind of play out a certain storyline of sort of like a role-playing thing. Right now, there's one available, but there will be 3 in total, and they'll be rolling out over the next couple months. But the first one that's available right now, you play the role of Anna. She's an early career scientist. And then the other 2 will be from the view of a partner new to remote sensing, so the end user side, and then one from an experienced researcher trying to take things to applications. And I'll put the link in the chat there. But we'll also be doing one on fundamentals of remote sensing. And then we're going to break that out into follow-ups into different thematic fundamentals: air quality, disasters, water, agriculture, things like that over the coming years. So that is what we have coming up this year. And I look forward to discussions on how partnerships could occur on some of these trainings that are still a little bit in development, the ones a little bit further on in the year. If you see an overlap, we're always open to working with others as guest presenters and combining forces. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Brooke, for this great overview of all the activities that you're planning to do throughout the year. And we already have a couple of questions in the chat, but I guess that to follow the usual structure of this community, we will now move to the next presentation, and then we collect questions and we open the discussion at the end of all the presentations. So I ask you to be still with us. And we continue by introducing Martin Philipson from the European Space Agency. Martin, are you with us?
Yes, I am. Hello.
Lovely. Hello, good afternoon. So I leave the floor to you to introduce yourself and to present us a little bit the activities of ESA.
Thank you. So my name is Martin Philipson. I work at ESA in EO training and education. So specifically EO1 training. We have another part of ESA that works with maybe more the sort of engineering side trainings and so on. So today I'll present some of our work plan and materials for 2024. And I actually have something new that I'll be announcing as well that we've just finalized this morning. So to give you a little teaser. Can I stream? There we go. Firstly, and one of the big things we're doing this year is we are renewing some of the content we've done for our online courses, for our free online courses, our MOOCs that are all hosted on the EO College platform. Primarily, we are updating the content for our land remote sensing MOOC, which is all using optical data, and we're adding new content for the SAR MOOC. For the land MOOC, we're making sure that this new content, it comes from a user survey, and this is all done in cooperation with the University of Jena, who runs the EO College, who are very tightly linked to the EO College, by the way. So new content from a survey, we're making sure that it includes higher interactivity for the users and a gamification aspect, and also making sure that these 8 very separate MOOCs currently that are separated by topics, that it'll be more adaptable and it'll be easier for users to find what they are interested in and want to focus on, as currently some of the names might be slightly misleading as to the content, for example. We're also making sure in this contract that we're adding long-term support for the existing MOOCs because they've proven very popular and we want to make sure that they continue being available. For the SAR MOOC, we are adding new content on X, L, and P band, as well as multi-frequency. And we'll also be adding information about the use of EOS-4 data, which is an ISRO SAR satellite. And also, I'm pretty sure we're also adding content on SAOCOM data from Kunai, but I'd have to confirm. I don't remember right now. And lastly, we've also just released a new MOOC about 2 weeks ago, and it is all completely focused on open data science, Earth observation, cloud computing, data cubes, that sort of thing, because it's an area that's highly requested by our students whenever we do courses. These are areas that often it's almost sort of assumed within Earth observation that these are things that you might be familiar with, or at least that's only really relevant for people from a computing science background. So we want to make it more available, since at this point, Earth observation is 80% computer science. Great, we are adding outcome. Okay, wonderful. Thank you, Carsten. Next slide, please. There we go. A key training we're doing this year is a cooperation with NASA. It's the Transatlantic Training number 11, which will be hosted July 14th to 17th in Chania, Greece. This is a training course that's available for pretty much anyone, anywhere, but it's primarily for students in Eastern and Southern Europe. The focus is on land remote sensing, and because this year it's hosted in Greece, it'll be focused primarily on earthquakes and forest fires. And using INSAR, we'll be teaching the students how to do INSAR, as well as machine learning and AI principles. This is an area that's highly requested, and so we want to make sure we meet that. Secondly, the training is being hosted at the same time as the Sarin and Medrin plenaries, and so the students will be able to participate, annual meetings. The students will be able to participate in the plenary for these. I believe it's a conference. I'm not entirely sure. I'm not a member, but they'll be able to meet scientists working in the field of EO. So this is, imagine master's students, PhD students, that sort of level that these are for. Next slide, please. Thank you. A big thing we've done and that we just finished last week here was the introduction of the educational mode on EO Browser. EO Browser is our in-browser, completely free to use Earth observation analysis and visualization platform. So it means that you can quickly go in, visualize any type of Sentinel data, Landsat data, or MODIS data, as well as a couple of other data sets on this platform. And you can just immediately see it in your browser and get a quick visualization. So, and that includes both true color, false color, band indices like NDVI, that sort of thing, your classics. And then a big focus for the education mode is the introduction of themes. So say if it's wildfires or ocean or agriculture, that the visualizations you get are specific to that topic, which is very useful for users who are not as familiar with EO. There's also, you can still do your complete custom visualizations if you want. You can import scripts. So there's a lot of opportunities, but we want to make sure that we capture this group of unfamiliar users better. And to that end, we've also improved the guides and all the tooltips for everything on the browser. It includes this update to the EO browser, includes a host of new and improved new and improved features, and that includes if you draw a line, you can now get an elevation profile. We're adding onto the time series functionality that already was. So say you want an NDVI time series over your target area, you can now do that from multiple. You can now create a time series from multiple band indices, ratios, visualizations at the same time, and all of this data can be exported to XL. You can get a histogram. So say if you have an area, it'll show you the distribution of values over your area. And you can also we've also added a spectral explorer. So you can see all the different bands for an area or a point. EO Browser already contains the ability to create time-lapse animations, which is very useful, and that can be exported as a GIF. And a new feature is also the addition of a 3D view using satellite visualizations. It's very Google Earth style, so you're probably all familiar with that to some degree. So if you want to view your data in 3D, you can do that in false color, for example, which is very cool. Next slide, please. Great. And here, lastly, just to give you some information about general training we're focused on. Overall, ESA has improved its focus on the MOOCs, mainly due to their popularity and their reach, and making sure that we're able to do it. And this is a continuous process, especially after COVID, to do more online trainings, particularly on the focus on the use of machine learning and cloud computing in EO, and particularly using Jupyter Notebook, because that's what all the university students are using now. Anyways, so making sure that our shorter courses will be held online, but definitely always that the in-person courses, anything that's over 3 days or longer, are held in person, because the students, they continuously tell us and they value the networking aspect and the ability to meet other like-minded people within the field. For a couple of other things we're working on, we have a webinar series on Polinsa with DLR that'll be announced later this year. And we also have, I'm going to say recently, over the course of a few years, but with ISRO, this is very recently. This was in December. We've added cooperations on the exchange of data. So ESA, that will be biomass data, for example, and CONAI will then supply SAOCOM data. to ESAF to distribute to worldwide. Let me get it right. It's worldwide SAOCOM data for European users. And with ISRO, we have done a data exchange deal that will allow us to get EOS4 and other compact pole data over Europe. And we're collaborating on the creation of super sites as well and looking into the what is it called? We're looking into the possible routine ScanSat acquisitions from ISRO over Europe and for ESA to be able to distribute that to users. And alongside these corporations, we'll be doing training courses with CONAI and with ISRO separately, training courses in Argentina and India, respectively. Also available for European students and professionals. And so yeah, these corporations are very new and they're very exciting, and we're definitely looking forward to that. Another thing we're doing, and this is new kind I can announce, so it's not on the slides yet, is that ESA, we are really moving towards creating evergreen training content, because there's been this issue in the past where, say, we have an in-person training or we have an online training, and then the materials for that and the recordings, they are put online and they are available online, but they're not really available in a format that is useful for people to look back at afterwards. If they haven't attended the training itself, often that context is missing. And so we've just created a contract that will allow for the creation of a training platform that will host evergreen content, and not necessarily in the style of MOOCs, but trainings more in the style of what ARSET is doing, of creating these training courses and then having the materials all be available and designed for students to be to use asynchronously later on, and to continue having that available. Alongside that, our focus is on making sure that we have access to all the individual training objects, so those can be reused for other purposes, other trainings, or in collaboration with other training institutions, space agencies, and so on. So our focus here at ESA on training is really on making sure that all of these trainings, all of these materials, that they're no longer being used for a training course that's 5 days long, and then they will just gather dust, but rather that we will more efficiently be able to reuse them and share not just a PDF PowerPoint, a PDF version of a PowerPoint, but individual training objects, videos, recordings, materials, tutorials, and so on, and that they're designed to be evergreen and asynchronously accessed. So that was a lot, especially with no text on the screen to explain all that, which I apologize for. But it's very exciting, and hopefully it means that we'll be able to work more efficiently in the future. So thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, Martin, for this very insightful presentation on the many latest development on the side of ESA for what concerns these training activities. Also for you, we have plenty of questions, but that's for later. So I wanted to mention that unfortunately Robert couldn't make it with us today, so Martina kindly will replace him and present the slides and the material that was provided by Robert on behalf of the EO College. So Martina, I will give you back the floor to guide us through the slides of Robert. Thank you.
Okay, great. So I think it's fine right now. So thank you very much, and for this opportunity also to present EO College. Some part already have been, parts and different parts have been presented by Martin about EO College and the platform. And here you can find, I hope, some additional information. And also my colleagues from EO College are here on this call, so if you Nesrin and Carsten would like to add something, please feel free to add while I'm speaking or afterwards. So before starting and talking about your college, just shortly about our Chair for Earth Observation at the University of Vienna. We are not only doing MOOCs or online training, of course, as a part of university. We are also providing undergraduate studies, postgraduate studies, and also offer to our students block of seminars conducted by external lecturers. You can find the list of external lecturers on this slide on the left-hand side, on the right-hand side. And as you see, we have different also our department or chair. We have different. We focus on different research questions and areas. Education is part of our bigger SAR application and big data infrastructures block. And it's also very important part of our chair. But we have also others focused on global EOScience and applications activities, or more very high resolutions data and UAV point counts analysis. So as I mentioned, we provide different programs under postgraduate, and we are very active in research and EO education initiatives and projects. So we are working on new learning methods, and under this statement, we have, of course, activities within EO College, but also other projects and activities. We are part of EOTEC education working group here in Germany, but also of international networks, like member of EOSpace networks, CEOS WGCAP-T, Space for Geo, or EOTEC DevNet, as you can see today. Back to EO College, to give you more perspective. EO College started in September 2017, and we have already more than 30,000 registered users, plenty, or over 2 million or almost 3 million page views. And our activities are mainly financed or sponsored by European Space Agency and German Aerospace Center. And EO College is not only University of Vienna, is also Uni Bochum, focusing on remote sensing for school aspects. And also we have colleagues from Potsdam, from GTFZ, focusing on hyperspectral data, so the German Research Center for Geosciences in Potsdam. So we are also trying to focus on different audience when we are talking about training. So EO College mainly at academic level, professional level, colleagues from Bochum on school levels, secondary or under secondary education, and hyper edu, also academic level, I would say professional level. Here on the next slide, I want to say a few words about our courses or our resources available on our portal. So here you can see some of them already mentioned by Martin, the MOOCs on land monitoring, land in focus. We have many materials focusing on radar remote sensing, the one underlined land in focus, and also a very important part right now, actually, currently, is MOOCs on Sustainable Development Goal 2, Zero Hunger. We are also providing mini MOOCs. We are also a platform for offering or sharing courses of other organizations. And all courses are open and freely available. We have also other more static resources you can also find on our website. The one of the newest courses, the one mentioned also by Martin, so only shortly, the one on cloud and data cubes and open science. So we implemented this course using three parts. So learning, so giving theory behind cloud platforms, data cubes, and open science, but also some more practical approach to understand how it works. So the access to data catalogs, data properties, and other cloud formats and processes, and then also hands-on on data cubes and cloud platforms to apply the knowledge that our participants of the course just gained. I would like to wrap up with our priorities for this year and themes. The big research topic for this year for us is role of generative AI in education. So we are testing different aspects of how AI could be used in education, from support in language translation or giving a voice to our materials, resources, or also to adaptive learning. And if you will have any further question, I think my colleague Carsten, who mainly work on that, then we'll be happy to answer your questions. We, of course, focusing on collaboration. So we have a project on European level, space within Space for Geo, focusing on development of skills in space-related fields. And we are involved in international collaboration, as I mentioned in my first slide on EOTEC, DEFNET, and COSWGCAPT. Currently, we are in a phase of conceptualization and implementation of a training event for radar remote sensing, a training that we already for more than 10 years implemented here in Germany in German language. And next year we would like to open it to the wider audience and to discourse in English. Another topics and themes for this year, we are continuing publishing our mini MOOCs focused on zero hunger, sustainable development goals. We are also working on machine learning for EO. We will, in frame of our collaboration with colleagues from German Research Center for Geosciences, will publish MOOCs on hyperspectral applications. And we are right now in the discussions about disaster management and mapping MOOC. So I think with that, I will thank you all for your attention, and I'm happy with my colleagues to answer any questions you may have. And thank you very much, and over to you, Annalisa. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Martina, especially for jumping in at the last minute and presenting the slides that Robert provided. Thank you very much, all. And I would like to kindly ask our speakers to switch on the camera and to come back with us to answer a couple of questions. We wanted to structure a little bit the discussion today around the three main topics, which I believe are going also to gather a couple of the questions that I've been reading in the chat. The first one being topics and flexibility. So we were wondering how big organizations such as NASA, ESA, but also like University of Vienna or the EO College are gathering main topics. So do you do any kind of survey? Are you somehow, for instance, flexible in partnering up and basically selecting the topic according to specific needs of one sector? And also, we would like to understand how do you develop basically the plan for the distribution of these topics, of these trainings? I don't know if somebody wants to start. I guess this is pretty much also gathering the first question that was posed by Just. And maybe, I don't know, I will give the floor following the order first to Brock and then to Martin.
Hi, yeah. So we have an evaluator that works on our team, and we've been doing surveys after every training for about 13 years now. And then we also have a follow-up that we'll do a year later, assuming that if they are using them, they'll be able to give us a little bit more feedback on how useful it actually is in their work. If they're not using it, what are the barriers? What are the barriers still to uptake? So that's where we get a lot of our ideas. But we're also really connected with the different missions. So we want to prepare communities for missions as they're coming up. So really lay the groundwork. We also are, trying to coordinate with some of the overall strategies from the Earth Action Program, what was formerly known as the Applied Sciences Program here at NASA. Now it's called Earth Action. And we try to focus on those topics as well. So it's a really nice blend of really getting some information from the community on what they want. We try to give it to them. And we develop our work plans usually throughout the summer and have it pretty much decided by the beginning of each fiscal year. For us, that's on October every year. But we are very flexible for partnering. If there is a subject that we see rising to the top as far as interest, and we don't have the subject matter experts in-house, we will try to reach out to different space agencies or universities or anybody that we can, see if we can partner and co-produce the agenda, guest speakers. We'll host it. But we sometimes just look for extra subject matter help as well. And it can go the other way too. If there's something that you're looking for as far as expertise and you would like to partner with us and have us be included in some of your training, some of our trainers, that's always an option as well.
Thank you. Martin?
Yes. So whenever we do trainings, I'll be completely frank and just say we get a lot of requests, like a lot of requests for trainings from various different sources. It's universities, and often it's especially from the head of ESRAN, Simonetta, for example. She will email us with something completely random, and my boss, Francesco Sazzi, who runs EO training, has to say no because we are two people doing these trainings. So it's kind of limited what we can do. And so often the training requests we get in from there. And so from that, and this is a process Francesco does on his own. I'm not really involved in this as his assistant. Tries to choose depending on the sort of programs we're doing. So say we are doing, we have the PEX program where we work with the PEX countries, which are, I have to remember this correctly, they are countries who are almost members of ESA, but not quite, or it's something along those lines. And then we do a training dedicated to them, for example, or we do trainings here with ISRO or with CONAI, so we'll have a training for that each. So oftentimes there are sort of mandated trainings in our calendar that we know we're doing every year. We have the transatlantic training with NASA that we do. And then for the rest of the time, we're filling in that calendar. And so often for us, in terms of collaborations, what is the most straightforward for us to do? Anything online is similar. Anything shorter is also something we can often accommodate with not a whole lot of time in advance. If it's something that requires us getting a specialist from outside, so a university professor from a, I'm going to say partnering university. That's not quite true because we will happily partner with anyone, but we have a list of trainers that we work with most often that are sort of tried and true in terms of the feedback that they get on their trainings. Often, of course, it has to fit with their schedule. And I had a third point that I forgot, so I will leave it there.
Thank you very much. Karsten, do you want to add something on the side of the EO College?
Not at the moment. It's can you hear me? Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
So we are currently working on the content or on the extension of the content, and I think usually we get requests either from ESA or from German Aerospace Center to create new topics, new content, and but we're also looking, how to say, in the we're observing what is new, which missions are new, which methods are new, especially everything connected to artificial intelligence is really exciting, and thinking about possibilities to produce MOOCs or tutorials or how to promote this to interested people.
Yeah, and if I may to add, so we are more working on designing the courses in a way that it could be with the best use for participants, or how to design it that it could be that the knowledge will be in the easiest way and used from participants. So.
And maybe one thing which I also would like to share is one of our positive aspects of sitting in a university is that we are close to the students and to the way how students learn things today, because the way things are learned has been changed over, let's say, the last 10 years. And so we know, or we think we know how to adapt then learning materials so that it suits the learning needs from people, or from at least young students of today, and which are mostly using mobile phones or tablet computers, and not so much the classical textbooks and other things. And we also noticed that in German we say Aufmerksamkeitsspanne. This is a time range where you are focused on something. So this also gets a little bit smaller and smaller. So you also have to divide maybe a complex topic into smaller pieces. And one keyword is like micro learning and things like this. So this is
Cool. I have another question on this topic, which is about the availability of the material that you develop. So we saw a couple of websites and repositories in which I believe your different organizations uploads this kind of material. But I was wondering, is this generally freely and openly available to everybody across the world, regardless the geographic location and regardless also the status, the affiliation of the user, or not really? And how does this work? Do we have to register, for instance? Is it just downloadable from the website? Can you give us a little bit of insights on this?
Who should answer?
Yeah, just to continue, Carsten, yes, then we close the college part.
Some of our materials are available as, let's say, presentations as PowerPoint or PDF presentations, and the courses are available also for free in the internet from the website, and they contain videos, and you cannot directly download them, but you can take part in these courses at any time. You just have to enroll there. It's called enrolling, and then you are free to do whenever you want to do your learning. So,
but you have to register.
Yes, yeah. But in general, it's free for every person from every country at any time.
I would say same for us at ARSET. We really try to make sure that our trainings, although some case studies might be regionally focused, we really try to focus on a global audience and try to cater to that. So all of our trainings you have to register for any live training that's coming up. Real simple, just a few questions about demography and where you're from, what you do, where you work, and your country, and then you're given the links to join the WebEx events at the time, and then past ones, videos are hosted on a YouTube channel, but they're embedded in each training web page. So each part has PDFs of the presentations and exercises and all that. So no cost, open to anybody. We take them all.
Great.
Yeah, from ESA side as well, all our training materials are freely available online. I posted a link to it in the chat, our training resource repository. A lot of it, just by the nature of having the website server not be overwhelmed with data and information, all the presentations are in PDFs, but anyone who would send an email and reach out, we would be happy to give them the full PowerPoint presentation. Also, I remembered the point I wanted to say about trainings and collaborations and so on, which is that basically, if any of you want to collaborate on trainings or have any sort of questions about trainings at ESA or what ESA is doing, Francesco Sarti is, of course, the head of training here at ESA. He gets thousands and thousands of emails. I do not. So if you CC me in, it's guaranteed that I will read it and I will go and talk to him about it. And the chance of, collaborating on anything is immediately a much higher.
Martin, now you said it. I mean, this is your responsibility for the number of emails that you will get after this. So we take it as a
I'm
promise.
okay with it. I've having seen the number of emails a lot of people get, I can tell I'm not in that group. Also, just by the nature of having worked at ESA for about 2 years now, so people maybe don't know yet.
Okay, so I see that there is an hand up for a question and also plenty of very interesting questions from Monica. But I would like just to, since for the sake of time, we're running out of time, just other two things before maybe opening up. One is about engagement and another one is about impact. So about engagement, something that I'm really, let's say, curious about is we talk a lot about students, but do you also organize this kind of training for different kind of professionals, being them from, I don't know, a couple of sectors and willing to up and reskill, or for instance, from public authorities or people coming really like from the user side of the value chain? And also, how do you really promote this material? Is it only like one way, in the sense that you're getting requests and then you are delivering the training? Or since Brooke, for instance, mentioned the work plan, so there is also like a specific work that has been done to structure content and deliver this content. How do you promote it? And how do you boost participation? I don't know who wants to start with a couple of words on this.
You mentioned our work plan. So on how to increase participation, or how do we promote these things, we try to get ourselves on any organization's newsletters, listservs, post on their Facebook, LinkedIn groups as we can. We have a listserv with about 7,000 people on it, an X account with about 14,000 people following. So we do an initial blast 2 months before any training, just to let people know about it. And then we just start going down our list of, people that we've worked with for years, their communications teams, and just give them the full promotional materials, and they can repost it, retweet it, whatever they want to do, send it through their channels. And then we'll even do very targeted outreach. So if it's one on heat indexes and in urban setting, we'll really try to find, cold email GIS teams in those particular municipalities, or any municipality we can find. A lot of legwork to do that second part, but it is worth it because you really start to find the people, and it's an easy sell. The data's at no cost, the training's at no cost, and it's just awareness at this point. So we try to get them all.
Yeah.
So maybe if I can jump in here. The European General Data Protection Regulation avoids that you directly address possible customers or people who are interested in these training courses. Therefore, we're also using email lists and things like this. And of course, we are on social media. Like we have an account on Facebook, on X or Twitter, as it was called before, then on Instagram. And this is also a way to attract people and get them interested. And you also ask where our people are coming from, or the learners are coming from. So until last year, we had a yearly event which was called a summer school, which will not happen this year because we are redesigning everything. Next year we will start again. But the summer schools were open for all kinds of people. We had people coming from universities, the postdocs, for instance, people from administrations, from offices, also from companies. We also once had a participant from the German army, and so it's a wide range of people who are interested in this. I think there's also one thing I need to mention is that since the pandemic, we switched to an online course, an interactive online course, and but I think we will go back to in-person meetings as soon as we have redesigned everything. And yeah.
Maybe I will add to that our colleagues from EO College, from Uni Bochum, they focus on the school level. They couldn't join us today, but they have also plenty of materials available, also free and open on their platform, and happy also to share all the information on how they reach. But it is really like they go to the schools, talk with the teachers, try to engage them. Also, they provide instructions how to implement the materials into the school activities, and so they are really advanced in this approach or implementing Earth observation at the school level.
Okay, thank you very much. Maybe just taking up on one of Monica's questions at the very beginning, which is also like going in the sense of the impact. I wanted to ask to you all guys, how do you measure the impact of these courses in terms of users mostly? So, how do you indeed measure, count the users participating, the people that are engaging with this kind of trainings, and what do you consider to be a success factor for this kind of training? Maybe this time I will give the floor to Martin first.
So sorry, I think I just missed. What type of training exactly did you say?
No, I was mentioning like for the training that you deliver, like how do you measure the users, and so the impact, like how many people are actually participating? I guess that for those that are done like online, like openly streamed, like you can see very easily like the number of people. But for those that you upload, for instance, do you count downloads? Do you count like how do you measure, let's say, the impact of this kind of training? And also, like as a follow-up question, it's like, what do you consider to be a success factor for this trainings that you guys are
I
doing?
see. So yes, of course, for our in-person trainings, we always do complete feedback surveys, and we rely on those to measure impact. The same for our online webinars, for example. Often we do webinar series in collaboration with other institutions. I believe it was last summer we did a webinar series with Plymouth Marine, either lab or institution or observatory or something like that. Webinar series on marine Earth observation. And for that, like a measure of success, we can also often see is the drop off over time, just by the nature of having it be weekly, by seeing how many people are participating the first week versus week 10. If there's a drop off at a specific point, that's easier for us to then pinpoint and say, and then look into something specific and say what went wrong that week that maybe caused a lot of people to then not join the next week. And in this case, for this course, it was something as straightforward as going into week, I think it was 27, which is a very common like holiday week for schools. It was so for our online trainings, so far, the materials we have online in our training repository, we don't collect any type of statistics on those, mainly because they are training materials from already previous trainings. And so we have the feedback from those there, and the materials are only really online for those who want it, or if people want to reuse it for something else. For our collaborations with EO College, we have the statistics dashboard there that we have access to, where we see the numbers there, which are all incredible, and the feedback and the retention rate is so good. But what I mentioned with the repository is a big reason why in the future that we've decided that this focus will really be on creating evergreen content, making those in a format that is available in the future. And so it is a conversation that we have started, but not necessarily found an answer for ourselves yet as to how to measure a success metric for materials that are available online, and not especially materials that is not necessarily being actively promoted at the time. So basically, we are very happy to hear from others as well on this topic.
Yeah, Brooke, I don't know if you want to tell us a little
Sure.
bit about NASA.
Yeah, so gosh, 10 years ago or so, we started really standardizing our registration. So those are our metrics that we want to report up to headquarters. Of course, they want to know these indicators, but that only tells you so much. Yeah, you had a lot of people register, but how do we tie that to impact? At the end of our follow-up survey a year later, it's anonymous, but we give an option if they would like to be contacted for an interview, to give us feedback on how they're using the data, if they're using the data, if they're not, why not? But things that they've been able to do with it, and see if we can get some great impact stories. And we just sent them out from 2 years ago, and we have about 165 people that volunteered to be interviewed. I don't think we're going to get to all of them, but hopefully we can get some narratives going on there as far as being able to communicate the impact. Now, those are just one-off interviews, but we hope there's more of those behind those. Traditionally, our impact has been sort of qualitative. I mean, so a self-assessment on a survey, feedback survey, they kind of say, oh, I feel like I improved but there's really no metrics contained in that. So it's sort of like self-reflection. But we're trying to get to a point where we're being able to really track change in use and uptake. So through our LMS, we're starting to go on that road so we can actually put numbers to impact as far as gauging how much they learned with a little bit more detail. But impact to us is if they're using Earth observations routinely now in their work for societal benefit. If they've replaced some other higher cost method of data collection with this, we consider that as like the gold star evidence of impact. But you got to seek out those stories.
But there's no kind of survey that you distribute at the end of the trainings to gather, for instance, some kind of immediate feedback on like how was the course? Are you planning to use it further? Or
we do that too. Yeah, we do one. We send it out. We try to send it out like the day after, once we have the full participant list, so we can capture that initial, and we help evaluate the training itself. But then a year later, it's more about usage.
Yeah. Thank you very much for all